Out of the rolling pine forests and open plains of northeastern Wyoming, a single great rock rises straight into the sky, flat-topped and ribbed with hundreds of soaring vertical columns. It stands nearly alone above the grasslands, a landmark seen from far across the country, ancient, sacred, and unlike anything around it. For thousands of years, it has drawn the eyes and the reverence of the people who live beneath it, and in more recent times, it became the first national monument in the United States. Welcome to Devil's Tower. We are in the far northeastern corner of Wyoming, in the rolling country where the Great Plains begin to lift toward the Black Hills. Here the land is a mix of ponderosa pine, red earth, and open grassland, cut by the winding Fourche River that flows past the foot of the tower. The wooded slopes of the Black Hills rise to the east across the country, but the tower itself stands apart, a solitary giant above the river and the plains. At the center of it all stands the tower, a vast column of rock rising hundreds of feet above the surrounding forest and plain. Its sides sweep upward in long vertical ridges, and its top is broad and nearly flat, as if the summit had been sheared clean across. From every direction it dominates the horizon, visible for miles across the open country. Nothing else nearby comes close to its height or its strange, fluted form, and it seems to stand guard over the land around it. Come closer, and the tower resolves into a great gathering of stone columns, standing shoulder to shoulder like a bundle of immense pillars. Many of them have 4, 5, or 6 sides, tall and narrow and remarkably regular, rising the full height of the rock. Deep grooves run between them from base to crest, and their surfaces are cracked and weathered by countless seasons of frost and sun. Up close, the sheer scale of these columns is difficult to grasp, each one far larger than it appears from the plains below. Around the base of the tower spreads a gentle country of grassland and pine, watered by the Fourche River as it winds slowly past. In the warm months, the plains turn green and gold, and cottonwoods and pines gather along the riverbanks. This is classic Wyoming high plains, wide and open under an enormous sky, where the land rolls quietly away in every direction. Against all that space and softness, the hard gray tower rises all the more dramatically. This remarkable place holds a special honor in the story of the country. In 1906, President Theodore Roosevelt proclaimed Devil's Tower the very first national monument in the United States, the first of many wild and wondrous places to be set aside for all the people. It was a new idea that a landmark could be protected simply for its beauty and its meaning, and the tower was chosen to lead the way. More than a century later, it still stands as a symbol of that early promise to safeguard the natural wonders of the land. So how did such a strange formation come to be? Long ago, deep beneath the surface, molten rock rose up and cooled slowly underground, hardening into dense igneous stone. As that molten rock cooled and shrank, it cracked into the tall, many-sided columns we see today, much as thick mud cracks into shapes as it dries. For ages the hardened rock lay buried, until the softer earth and stone around it slowly wore away, leaving the tough columns standing high above everything else. The tower is, in a sense, the exposed heart of something that once cooled in the dark. At the foot of the tower lies the evidence of its slow unmaking. Great blocks and broken columns are piled in a vast scree around the base, some the size of houses, tumbled down over thousands of years as frost and time pried them loose. Among these fallen giants grows a forest of ponderosa pine, softening the jumble of stone with green. To stand below the tower is to be surrounded by a field of ancient fragments, each one a piece of the columns that still rise overhead. Long before it bore its present name, this tower was and remains a deeply sacred place. More than 20 Plains nations hold it holy, among them the Lakota, the Cheyenne, and the Kiowa, and many know it by names that mean Bear Lodge. For generations, people have come here to pray, to fast, and to hold ceremonies, and colorful prayer cloths are still tied among the pines around its base. To these nations, the tower is not a curiosity but a living presence, woven into their oldest stories and their faith. One well-known legend told among the Plains nations explains the deep grooves in the tower. In the story, a group of children, or in some tellings young maidens, were being chased across the plains by an enormous bear. As the bear closed in, the rock beneath them began to rise into the sky, lifting them far out of reach. The great bear leaped and clawed at the sides of the rising stone, its claws carving the long vertical grooves that run down the tower to this day. When the rock had risen as high as it could, those it carried were said to have been placed forever among the stars. Because the tower is so sacred, its meaning is honored in a very real way each year. During the month of June, when many nations gather here to hold their most important ceremonies, visitors who wish to climb are asked to voluntarily set their ropes aside. It is a quiet act of respect, a way for all who love the tower to share it gently and to make room for prayer. In those weeks, the great rock belongs first to ceremony, and the plains around it grow still with reverence. On the flats below the tower lives a bustling community all its own. Here spreads a large Prairie Dog Town, where round, sociable little animals pop up from their burrows, sit upright to watch the world, and call to one another across the grass. Their tunnels honeycomb the open ground, and their chattering fills the air on a warm afternoon. Beneath the towering rock, this cheerful colony is one of the small delights of the place, life in constant motion at the feet of something ancient and still. The tall columns of the tower have also made it one of the most storied climbing walls on the continent. Hundreds of roots rise up the cracks and grooves between the columns, following the long vertical seams from the boulder field to the flat summit far above. It is a demanding and celebrated challenge, drawing those who long to reach the top of the great rock. Yet even here the effort is shaped by respect, undertaken with care for a place that means so much to so many. In more recent times, the tower found fame far beyond the plains of Wyoming. It appeared as the mysterious centerpiece of the beloved film Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where its unmistakable shape rose against the sky as a place of wonder and gathering. Almost overnight, audiences around the world came to know its silhouette. Ever since, the tower has held a place in the imagination as something otherworldly, a natural landmark that feels almost too strange to be real. To stand at the very base of the tower and look straight up is the moment that stays with everyone who comes. The columns soar overhead until they seem to lean into the sky, and the pine forest hushes around you. You feel at once how small you are and how old this place is. A rock that cooled in darkness, rose into the light, and has been revered for longer than memory. Beneath it, the plains, the river, and the Prairie Dog Town go quietly about their lives, all in the shadow of the great stone tower. A tower of stone columns rising above the plains, sacred to many nations, and the very first monument of its kind in the land. Thank you for watching. Follow for more interesting people, places, and things we cover on the channel.